Today we're going to make some fried pickles, and we're going to pair it with a very peppery ranch dipping sauce. And that ranch dipping sauce is what I want to get ready first. So we're starting with a half a cup of sour cream. To this I'm going to add about a half a cup of mayonnaise. Did anyone catch that? Me just like spilling all over my cutting board here? I do spill sometimes, a lot of times, all the time. First thing I'm going to add is a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper flakes. Now I'm using these dark and smoky pepper flakes from Flatiron Pepper Company, but use whatever kind you have. Hatch pepper flakes, red pepper flakes, anything will work. Next up, a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, half a teaspoon of granulated garlic, 1 teaspoon of a coarsely ground black pepper, 1 teaspoon of dried chives, 1 teaspoon of dried parsley flakes, and 1 teaspoon of dried dill. And we mix. You don't just want to do a quick mix on this, you want to really make sure everything gets blended. I think you should spend about a minute blending this. Let's get a little taste here. That has a really nice peppery bite to it. But if at this point you taste it and you want more peppery bite, add some more of your ground black pepper or some pepper flakes. All right, this is going in the refrigerator. I'm going to cover it, and we're going to move on to getting our fried pickles ready. So I have my dill pickle slices out here. Now this is not the total amount I'm going to be doing. This recipe will do roughly 3 medium-sized dill pickles. Now you could slice them whole yourself, or you can just get them like this. So this is what we're working with. And what we need to do is we need to dry these off. So I've got a plate with some paper towels on it, and I'm going to start putting pickles on here to start absorbing some of that brine they're in. We want to get these dried out before we batter them for frying. Just going to take a paper towel here and just sort of help it along on the top here. Now after this part of the drying, what I'm doing is I'm going to transfer it to a tray with a rack in it that they can rest on and just sort of let the air evaporate any of the surface moisture. And I like to do this part about 30 minutes before you start battering so that the surface is as dry as it can be without losing all that briny flavor inside. So I'll finish these up, transfer them to their rack to dry, and we're going to move on to getting our batter ingredients ready. So for our batter, which really isn't a batter, it's going to be a 2-part dredge. You have your wet and your dry, and at the end, it's going to be a batter surrounding the pickles. Now we're going to make the dry component first, and we're starting with a cup of all-purpose flour. Next up, a 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, half a teaspoon of granulated garlic, and 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper. We're going to mix this together. Just like that. Now let's get our wet component of our batter ready. So for the wet component of our dredge, we're starting with 1 egg. I'm going to break this up first, and then we're going to add half a cup of buttermilk. All right, that's ready. And what you want to do at this point is you want to have a pan ready with about 1 inch or so of oil. I'm just using vegetable oil. And we want to bring that up to about 375 degrees. Now, when I fry these pickles today, I'm just going to fry them maybe 3 or 4 at a time because I'm using a smaller cast iron pan. It allows me to control the heat better and I don't have to use so much oil, but you could do this in a deeper saucepan even if you wanted to. So let's head over to the stove. So our oil in our pan is up to 375 degrees. I have my dry and my wet. We're going to start battering up our pickles. So we're going to go dry. Shake it off. Then wet. Shake it off. And then back into our dry. And I'm just going to let this pickle sit here in the batter for a few minutes while I batter up the others. So dry, shake it off, wet, shake it off, dry. And I want to get 4 pickles ready to go before I start frying them. And then once I fry those, I will come back and batter the others. I have a tray with a rack in it for the pickles to come out on, and they can just rest there as any excess oil drips off. Trying to keep one hand here, not covered in this goop. And we're going to fry these for maybe 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes on each side, or until they are golden brown. And your first batch can always be a little rough, so don't worry about it. Just want to shake off any excess and gently lay these in here. So we're just going to watch these and let them crisp up for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And you can already see that golden brown developing on the outside. Just keep an eye on them to see when they're getting that nice golden brown. And you might lose a little bit of your coating, that's okay. Those are looking really good. You can turn them more than once if you want to. I would say these are getting close. This one here looks good. We're going to move this to our tray. All right, let's do a few more. Dry. Wet. Dry. Shake off the excess into the oil. Let them go for 90 seconds or 2 minutes until they're golden brown, just like the first batch. Looking good. Here we're doing. Just look for that color that you want. They do darken a little bit when they're sitting on the rack drying, but you want to get a good color when they come out of the oil. And you'll have to watch your heat because the oil temp will drop between batches and during a batch, so adjust it to keep it as close to that 375 as you can. I find that if it's above 360, you're probably going to be okay, but aim for that 375, not too much higher than that. All right, let's go ahead and get these out of here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and fry up the rest of our pickles, and then we will have a taste. These look terrific. And remember what I said about that first batch not always being the exact perfect batch? You can see the color's a little lighter. That's normal. Don't worry about it. The real key with this is keeping your oil hot, right around that 375 between batches. That's why I said you have to adjust. Check your temp and adjust. That looks like a good plate to me. Let's have a taste. I'm going to take this one here and let's get a taste before we dip. What can I say? If you like pickles and you like stuff that's deep fried, this is a no-brainer. Let's try some of our Peppery Ranch Dipping Sauce. Cheers. It is terrible that this tastes so good in combination because I know it's wrong. I could eat this whole thing. I'm not going to, but man, I could just dive into this right now, eat every one of these fried pickles, devour all of that sauce, and still want more. Just terrific.